Today we will be reading Upstairs Mouse, Downstairs Mole by Wong Herbert Yi. Chapter 2, The Invitations. Mouse found an invitation in her mailbox. It was from her neighbor Mole. Dear Mouse, if you are not too busy, please come join me for lunch to celebrate our new garden. Your neighbor, Downstairs Mole. Around noon there came a tap 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 at Mole's door. Glad you could make it, said Mole. Please come in. Mouse had picked dandelions for the occasion. For you, she said, until our flowers come up. Mouse looked around the room. My, but you keep a nice and tidy hole, she squeaked. Thank you, said Mole. It was a bit damp inside Mole's hole. Mouse shivered. Mole also kept his place rather dark, as bright lights hurt his eyes. Mouse bumped into the table as she sat down. Bump! Mole poured a cup of tea for Mouse and one for himself. I wasn't sure how you liked your worms, said Mole, so I prepared them 2 ways. The ones on the right are lightly fried. The ones on the left have been cooked. Dig in. Mouse took one of each to be polite. Mole filled his plate. He was starved. Mole crunched. Mole slurped. Mouse poked the worms on her plate. The one on the left wiggled and squirmed. Mouse's stomach began to wiggle and squirm. The one on the right looked greenish-gray. Mouse's face turned a greenish-gray. The damp air made her sneeze. Achoo! Goodness, Mouse, said Mole. You do not look well. I don't feel so good, moaned Mouse. Please excuse me, Mole, but I think I had better go upstairs and lie down. She bumped into the door on her way out. Bump! That evening, Mole found an invitation in his mailbox. Dear Mole, I am feeling much better. Please join me for dinner at 6 o'clock to continue our garden celebration. Your neighbor, Upstairs Mouse. At 6 o'clock, there came a tap, tap, tap at Mouse's door. Right on time, said Mouse. Please come in. You are looking much better, said Mole. Thank you, said Mouse. The evening sun poured through the windows in Mouse's house. Mole covered his eyes. He walked smack into a wall. Smack. Mole bumped into the table as he sat down. Bump. Mouse poured a cup of tea for Mole and one for herself. I was not sure which cheese you preferred, said Mouse, so I cut up 2 kinds. The one on the left is cheddar, and the one on the right is Limburger. Help yourself. To be polite, Mole took a thin slice of each. Mouse loaded her plate. She was famished. Mouse nibbled. Mouse gnawed. Mole's head still ached from walking into the wall. He began to wobble in his seat. The bright light over the table hurt his eyes. The strong odor of Limburger made his stomach flip-flop, plop. Mole toppled right off the chair. Mercy, Mole, squeaked Mouse. Are you okay? Mole groaned. I feel a bit dizzy. Please excuse me, Mouse, but I think I had better go downstairs and rest. He bumped into the door on his way out. Bump. Chapter 3. Good neighbors. Mole woke up the next morning feeling refreshed. He looked around his tidy hole. How nicely dark and damp it was. Nothing like Mouse's house, which was warm and bright. Suddenly, Mole pictured Mouse shivering. He remembered Mouse sneezing, Mouse bumping into the table, and Mouse smacking into the door. Why, Mouse had not even touched the worms on her plate. Goodness, cried Mole, how selfish of me! He buttoned his jacket and rushed out the door. Mouse washed the dishes in the sink. Rays of sunshine streamed into the kitchen. How bright and cheery things looked. Not at all like Mole's dark hole. Suddenly, Mouse pictured Mole covering his eyes. She remembered Mole walking into the wall, Mole falling off of his chair, and Mole bumping into the door. Why, Mole had not even nibbled the cheese on his plate. Mercy me, squeaked Mouse. What a thoughtless neighbor I've been. She zipped her coat and raced out the door. Mouse tied a bow on her box and hurried downstairs. Mole finished wrapping his package. He went upstairs to call on Mouse. They bumped into each other outside. Bump. "Why, hello," said Mouse to Mole. "Hello," said Mole to Mouse. "This is for you," said Mole. "I hope you don't think me a thoughtless neighbor." Mouse opened the present. There were 2 candles inside the box. "Bring them when you visit," said Mole, "and my hole will be less dark and damp." "Thank you very much," said Mouse. "You are a kind neighbor, Mole." Mouse handed Mole her box. "I hope I haven't been too selfish a neighbor." Mole unwrapped the package. Inside was a pair of sunglasses. "Wear them when you visit," said Mouse, "and my house will not seem so bright." "Thank you very much," said Mole. "You are a good neighbor, Mouse." Together they strolled into town for dessert. Mouse had the cheesecake. As for Mole, a bowl of worms, lightly fried.